Hello YouTube and welcome back to Fire Gaming Project. So in this short video, I'm going to be comparing the new upcoming 5-star weapon, which is dropping in a few days literally, and it's officially announced and the card is available on the official Twitter site for MiHoYo and Genshin Impact, Calamity Queller, the new polearm for Shenhe, 5 stars, and the Lithic Spear, which is a returning limited series event, which is already on the screen as you can see, so that I have the information right there. So since the Lithic Spear is here already, let's just quickly talk about it, shall we? Okay, so for every character in the party who hails from Liyue, the character who equips this weapon gains, I think it was maybe, let me see. It was 7% attack for R1, okay? Mine's R2, that's why. 7% attack increase and 3% crit rate increase. This effect will stack up to 4 times because there could be a maximum of 4 characters from Liyue. So the issue here with the Lithic series back then was, A, it's a limited weapon, so therefore it's not going to appear on the standard banner, but also, in addition, it limits who you can be in your team because it needs Liyue characters specifically. And people already did analysis of this because it's not a new weapon, okay? So way back then, you need high refines and it has to be refined 3 and above to be considered high. And you need at least 3 out of 4 of your team members to be from Liyue to maximize damage for this spear. Is this spear good though? It's still a good spear. People did analyze this back then. And I didn't do that because I wasn't streaming at that time when this was first released. But when I watched a bunch of those videos, which still hold valid to this day, this is the situation here. The reason why I'm comparing this with the Calamity Queller for Shenhe specifically is because Shenhe is going to be focused on attack and attack percentage scaling, I believe. That is why that's part of her kit. So I'm going to read the Calamity Queller's card from the official Twitter site first. I'm going to read it out loud. I don't have it obviously on the screen because I won't have it yet, but I'm going to read it to you guys and then we're going to compare it and then we're going to talk about any other spears that could be viable for Shenhe and or consideration. Okay, so the Calamity Queller, you can get for R1, you can gain 12% all elemental damage bonus. You can obtain a consummation for 20 seconds after using an elemental skill, causing attack to increase by 3.2% per second. This attack increase has a maximum of 6 stacks. So that's about like what, 18, 19, 20%-ish? When the character equipped with this weapon is not on the field, Consummation's attack is doubled. So the Consummation, so then that could be like a 40% if she's not on the field. So this again goes to say and confirm that Shenhe is a support off-field DPS, kind of. You lay down her E skills, you lay down her Q burst, and then you switch her off, basically, right? Now, I've already done a video quickly right before this about talking about the Calamity Queller and the Jade Spear banner that's coming out, so do check that out as well. But in this video, we're specifically comparing weapons for Shenhe, and I already talked about the fact that I'm not going to be pulling for Calamity Queller because it's a very niche weapon, okay? It has an attack percentage substat of 16.5% at level 90. R1, which is a very low attack percentage, by the way, 16.5%, okay? Not 6D, 16, okay? 16.5, okay? And then base attack is very high, though, 741. Again, because Shenhe's kit is where she scales off of attack to buff up the other characters, but specifically only cryo characters. So it's a very niche weapon for a very niche character, but it's in line with what MiHoYo and Genshin Impact are trying to do right now. They're trying to drive the, mono element meta basically, and buffing up and balancing out different other skill sets and stats instead of crit rate and crit damage. As we've seen recently in 2.3, they're buffing up Geo and they're buffing up defense, right? So now they're going back to attack a little bit, right? And they're going back to cryo a little bit, although cryo never really needed to be buffed up or brought back up, but then they're trying to rebalance it a little bit again. So what do I think? So as you can see, I already have a Lithic Spear up to R2. I never leveled it up because, again, it's considered not high refined in this case, and I don't always have all Liyue characters, okay? Would I consider giving this to Shenhe? Potentially, because this has an attack percentage substat, so it would be in line with what she needs, let's call it, okay? At level 90 R1, the attack percentage will be 27.6%, okay? Only the passive stat will change, of course, based on refine. And the base attack is 565. So it is almost like 200 or 180 less than the Calamity Queller for base attack, okay? Now, regardless of that though, remember, you still get the passive bonus, having Liyue characters. So I can see using like a Shenhe with the new 4-star character Yun Jin and possibly Zhongli for shielding, right? That's already 3 characters. So then that already benefits from it. I will not be pulling on the banner, so I won't be getting any further refines for it either. So I don't know if I will be willing to level this up, okay? So what if you don't have this, and if you're like me and you're not going to pull on the banner and you never got this originally either? That's fine. So let's go and take a look. She would not do well with the Dragon's Bane because it's for Hydra and Pyro, so we'll skip that. She could be okay with the Dragon's Spine Spear. However, many people did not refine this and did not, submit the materials to make more of these. She could do well only in the sense that this has a cryo passive a little bit. It's okay, and she could be considered a physical DPS too, potentially, because she does have moves that can reduce the physical resistance of opponents. So she would pair well with Ayula, and so this having a physical damage bonus could be okay if you want to make her more of a DPS role or sub DPS role. And similarly, if we're talking about physical and also craftables, Crescent Pike obviously is a standard, right? It's a physical and it's craftable. And this is okay too. And again, Shenhe being similarly a 5-star version of a Rosaria basically is, and Rosaria would be would be good using a Crescent Pike. So similarly then, a Crescent Pike could also serve Shenhe well in this case, okay? Now, I'm not specifically sure if she has energy issues. I'm going to assume she might be okay with energy, but we're not really sure. She is an off-field DPS after all, and with what we learned from Albedo as an off-field DPS and other characters that you're meant to swap off, energy is not the real issue here, because realistically, you can just put them on, throw down their stuff and then swap them out, and then they'll regain some energy while they're in the party, right? So it's not a big deal, but you could definitely use a Favonius Lance on her too if you want to just charge her up a little bit more to spam her ult more, etc. That's okay too. Right? Conversely, of course, we all have the catch R5 by now, hopefully, especially if you have been around since Inazuma dropped. You probably have this already. Obviously, if you're a newer player, you may not have this yet. So then a Favonius Lance would be better for you if you're a newer player. But if you've been around already since Inazuma dropped and you've already diligently fished till you got sick of it, because I've gotten sick of it and I haven't fished since, then you would have gotten this, right? And this is going to be good because it helps her elemental burst damage and increases her crit rate as well. Now, for the 5-star weapons, because she is a 5-star character, so energy recharge, if you want to spam her more, if you have the Engulfing Lightning, you could consider this, but this requires her to have lots of energy recharge, and I don't think that's how you want to build her, so I would skip this one. You could make it work, but I would just skip it, because you'd have to build her a specific way for this to work. This is coming up on one of the weapon banners. This is coming up with the Calamity Queller, so let's just pretend that you didn't get the Calamity Queller even though you wanted it, but you got this instead, and you're not going for Xiao. Then this could be okay for her, but it does have a crit rate substat, and again, she is a supporting character basically, so you can turn her into a DPS, sure, but then I don't know that she needs the crit rate, to be very honest with you. But this does increase her attack, but it takes a long time to level it up, so to speak, because you have to wait 7 seconds, so to speak, to stack it up, or you have to wait basically because you gains it for 6 seconds, right? And you have to wait in order for it to stack up basically. That's the only issue with this sword, with this polearm, but it is a very strong polearm, and it is obviously Xiao's best in slot. Now the Skyward Spine has energy recharge as well. This is also a very decent option, especially if you lost to 50-50 or you got this from the standard banner. I think this is okay too. This is not going to be a universally best weapon for anybody, but it's a decent weapon potentially for her. Savahoma is definitely more of a crit focused weapon. Obviously has a crit damage substat, and realistically it's for characters that scale with HP, specifically for Hu Tao and also Zhongli. So that's for the passive. So then I would reserve this for a more DPS role character, hence Shenhe does not fulfill that role. So for the 5-star weapons, she doesn't really need any of them. Maybe the Skyward Spine if you have it lying around and no one else is using it. The other 4-star option that I would consider maybe the Black Cliff, but again this is a very sub DPS or DPS damaging kind of polearm, right? Because it is focused on damage. So again, it may or may not be suitable for her either, okay? So again, it goes back to Shenhe is a very niche character with a very limiting amount of weapons that's at her disposal, okay? And so like myself, I'm not going for the Calamity Queller, so what would I give her then? I could potentially level this up and give it to her. I might be willing to. We'll see. Or I might just give her the Black Cliff. As you can see on the screen here, I already have it at R5 and level 90. And although she would not really make use of the crit damage, I would have to build her in a way that could take advantage of crit rate on her circlet and then maybe have crit damage so that then she can be more of a DPS role instead of just support for me. I would just have to make do with what I have, is what I'm trying to say. Now, of course, everyone's accounts are different, and not everyone has the Black Cliff weapons, but I highly recommend you guys getting these. I would just suggest that if you guys feel like just leveling her up on a basic level, then yeah, any of these energy recharge ones would be okay too. Favonius Lance is going to be fine. Okay. Now, just since we're on this topic, what would we give Yun Jin, for example? For Yun Jin, it's actually going to be similar, actually. You would probably give her the Lithic Spear if you're willing to go for it, or probably a Blackcliff weapon. One other weapon that I don't actually have in my roster yet, but I will get in the next patch, is the Deathmatch from the Battle Pass. So the Deathmatch is a crit rate focused weapon, and I would be okay to give even my Shenhe, if I was to get her, I would be willing to give Deathmatch to her as well, and then I would just have to build up her crit damage as well. I'd be willing to build her that way because I want to make it work that way for her. I don't want her just to be an off-field DPS where I slam stuff down and then put her off. I would actually want to use her to attack. Okay, so I would build her that way. That's just me. Okay, so let me know your thoughts. Which weapons would you be willing to put on your Shenhe? Well, she doesn't have very many choices, basically, right? Are you guys gonna go for the Calamity Queller, or are you guys gonna go for the Lithic Spear, or do you have other recommended weapons that you would be considering for her? Now, I didn't talk about the 3-star weapons, but let me quickly go through them. The White Tassel here is a 3-star weapon with crit rate, and the Black Tassel is HP. So neither of these are suitable for her specifically. If you're gonna go for this, you might as well get the Battle Pass weapon, or go for the Black Cliff weapon instead. If you're gonna go for crit. That's my opinion. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it here. Let me know in the comments below which weapons you're gonna kit out your Shenhe with if you are going to pull for her, or let me know if it works out for you guys, if there's other weapons that you feel should work out for her. Energy recharge is going to be a given. It's like a universal, and I think the Primordial Jade Spear, because you can win it from the standard banner and from losing 50-50, are also okay too, but you'd have to build her again to be more of a damage doer, which is okay too, right? She seems really cool and she could fulfill that role. Remember, people are comparing her to Kazuha as well. Kazuha can be multiple functions. He's not just a supporting character. He can also be a sub DPS or a DPS too if you build him that way. So I plan to, and I fully intend to, build my Shenhe to be a DPS. So I will give her likely the Black Cliff because it's already leveled up already. You know me, I'm just being lazy here. It's already leveled up. No one's using it right now. Gonna give this to her. And then for Yun Jin, I'm probably gonna give her either Favonius Lance or the Lithic Spear. And because Yun Jin is completely a support character and she's a 4-star character, I wouldn't mind that the Lithic Spear goes to her because it's a universal weapon potentially for her, and also because it won't be perfect for her, but she doesn't need to do that much damage either because Yun Jin is going to be a supporting character. Whereas for my 5-star characters, I like them to do more damage, so I would want the damage focus. That's just me. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are and what your plans are for Shenhe if you are pulling for her, and what weapons you are planning to get as well. Let me know, and do check out my other videos where I talked about the weapon banners that were fully announced and also the character banners that were fully announced.